Welcome to the GPLama YouTube channel, where today I have some news from Elite, who have just announced some new features on the Direto XR and their Suito smart trainers, and they've announced some very aggressive price cuts to those trainers as well. Now, just some quick housekeeping before we get started on what's new in the zoo. The Direto XR and XR-T are the same trainer. The Dash T is the trainer that ships without the cassette in the box. Same goes for the Suito and the Suito-T, one and the same. Now, cutting straight to the chase of what's new, some trickle-down features coming from the Justo, their flagship product, are now seen on the XR, XR-T, and the Suito-T. Starting off with the ERG Easy Start function. Now, if you're cranking along at 400 watts, as we do in ERG mode...
You cranking at 400?
Okay, so if you're cranking along at, say, 250 watts, as we do in ERG mode, and you have to stop pedaling for any reason, and your software doesn't take this into account, it can be almost impossible to start off again and start cranking out those watts. This ERG Easy Start will back off the wattage until the cadence comes back up, and then it will kick back in. So ERG Easy Start is now seen on the Direto XR, XR-T, Suito-T. You know the deal with those model numbers. Next up, and one of the most interesting updates and useful updates, is what they're calling the Bridge Cardio and Bridge Cadence functions. Connect your heart rate monitor and cadence sensor directly to the trainer, which will then bridge those connections to the software that you are connecting to. Meaning things are simplified when it comes to, well, the example here they use is Apple TV that can only handle 2 Bluetooth smart connections at any one time. That's not a Zwift limitation, that's a hardware limitation on the Apple side of things. So bridging your sensors to your trainer, straight to your software, means there's only one connection and less things to go wrong. For me, I've been using this with Windows 11, and I've had a much better experience bridging the connections and connecting to one device rather than connecting to this device, and this device, and hoping Windows can handle those Bluetooth connections. A lot of the time, it can't. So this is a welcome update. I'll show you this in action in just a few moments. Zwift Super-T is another one that's coming to both of these trainers. So Zwift Super-T, if you're cruising down a hill at any more than, I think, 55 to 56 kilometers per hour in game, and you are not pedaling, so you have 0 RPMs, your avatar will go into a Super-T. If there's still some cadence being reported, your avatar won't drop down into that Super-T. So now when you stop pedaling on these trainers, cadence will get to 0 a lot faster, Super-T and the aerodynamic position will kick in a lot sooner. Next up, and this relates to the Direto XR and XR-T, they're claiming here they've improved the ERG brake mode management. They're claiming it ensures maximum power data stability in ERG mode. The brake response is perfectly synced to the software, eliminating any fluctuations. You reach your desired power instantly. Now, ERG is an interesting beast, and it is very subjective based on how smooth you are pedaling. It has to respond to you either going over power or under power and adjusting the brake. For me, I've never had any issues with the Direto XR, but it's not uncommon for people to be reporting some issues with the ERG going up and down and being a little unstable. Hopefully with this update, they'll have a better experience. And the final update coming down to the Direto XR and XR-T is power smoothing, allowing you to smooth the power data visualization in both ERG and in simulation modes. Now, if you're riding along at 1 second update interval, your power can be quite jagged. Some people want to see a nice smooth line in ERG, regardless of what they're actually doing on the pedals. This option allows you to do that, just to smooth things out for the visuals to be a little better. So there's the details of all the new updates coming to both of those trainers. I've been testing out these updates over the weekend and a few of those features. Let's have a look at those in action now. Okay, first things first, using the Upgrado app on iOS or Android to select the trainer in question. Direto XR is the example I'm using here in the Llama Lab. I currently have firmware 0.78, firmware version 8.0 is available. So I'll click update, and it takes around 3 minutes or so to perform the update, and we are good to go. Over to the configuration of the Direto XR with these new features, and that's done with the My eTraining app from Elite. Loading that up here, clicking on settings, and give it a few seconds for the configuration to come down. There we go. Now, the settings you see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, they relate to the trainer and its use within the My eTraining app for your own training within their own app. But for the third-party stuff, let's scroll down. We have options there for power smoothing, diagnostics, calibration, power meter link, standalone/plugged-in trainer, standalone not plugged-in trainer, and sensor bridge. That's the one we're after today. And loading up the little spiel here, explaining what the sensor bridge is all about. Let's click on the configuration here. And after a few seconds, it will give you the option to pair a heart rate belt or a cadence sensor. Now, once you've paired something, it doesn't actually show up the sensor details on screen here, but it will tell you with a little thumbs up that it has paired the nearest heart rate belt. And there we have it, sensor paired. We hit close. Okay, as I said, nothing comes up on screen there, but you can trust that the heart rate monitor has been paired. Let's jump over to the Zwift pairing screen and have a look at that working. Alrighty, direct Bluetooth to Windows. We go Direto XR-T as power source. Resistance, same deal. Direto XR-T. Cadence, Direto XR-T. And heart rate. Windows on Zwift has auto-selected direct Bluetooth. Let's go the bridged connection, Direto XR-T. And I have a ticking heartbeat. Excellent. So one single Bluetooth device connected, simplifying everything. All right, let's jump in game and have a look at the data. All right, the first test was a full Llama lab test. You can see there in yellow, that's 200 watt steady state for 10 minutes. The data looking pretty good. Up into the 250 watt zone. And the numbers are holding quite smoothly as I'm pedaling along. Okay, into the overs and unders. And changes in resistance popping up. Of course, every time there's an ERG change into a higher wattage, it will most likely spike over before stabilizing. And also when it drops off to a lower level, you'll have what I call the ERG dip, and that will take place in just a few moments. Okay, dropping below the target wattage, 150 as it lets go, and then restabilizes, so 136, 134, and then it will come back up to where it needs to be within a few seconds to stabilize based on my pedal stroke. Rinse and repeat. Things look to be working quite well. No dropouts with the heart rate. No dropouts with the cadence. Everything's looking really, really good. Okay, with that session over, let's dig into some of the numbers recorded from Zwift. Firstly, starting off with the Zwift dashboard, which we can scroll down and have a look at all the information here. So this is from the Direto XR over Bluetooth, single sensor paired, and things looking nice and smooth through here. No dropouts on any of the channels. So all looking great from there. Next up, we'll dig into Zwiftalizer.com, so throwing the Zwift log file for that session through Mike Haney's fabulous tool, Zwiftalizer.com, which is very, very handy to diagnose any issues. As you can see here, 4 sensors, Bluetooth native, direct to Windows, cadence, controllable, heart rate and power. Everything is all good. Scrolling down, nice solid 60 frames a second there. That's locked on the screen that I'm using on the GeForce RTX 2060. Scrolling down, obviously no ANT disconnects, not using ANT. No resends for FTMS, no trainer resets, no Bluetooth disconnects. That's all looking really, really good. And finally, let's jump over and have a bit of a preview look at how the Direto XR performs up against the ASIO Magio, which we know performs quite well, but also the Magine P505 base power meter, which is a review of that is coming soon. Let's dive into the Llama lab test here, which is the 200 steady state, 250, 2 sprints, some overs and unders. The numbers we've got here, 216, 216, 217, all well within spec, so no issues there. Look, a little bit of variance, of course. That's no smoothing at all from any of the power meters. I think I've got the Direto XR set to number 2 or 3 smoothing. That was fine for me. Okay, and the flywheel speed test and the ramp test. Now, things are a bit wonky through here as we hit the physical limitations of the flywheel, but all in all, looking pretty good. And slight ramp test there. A bit of a jump here as I crunch through some gears. But from a data point of view, things are looking really, really good. And finally today, onto the price cuts of these trainers from Elite. Pulling up the pricing here of the Direto XR-T and the Suito-T. This can only be described as very, very aggressive price cuts. XR-T going from Euro 825 down to Euro 699, US 899 to 699 US, and over in the UK, £820 down to £599 for a trainer that I really have a soft spot for. It does so well for my power meter comparison tests. The Suito-T, its baby brother, goes from Euro 660 down to £549, US 699, US 549, and again over in the UK, £639 down to £499. All right, that's the news for today. We'll leave it there. Thanks for watching this one. As always, if you found it informative, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe to be across more videos from this channel, and thanks for watching.